Welcome to our deep dive. You ready to explore the Amazigh language?
Absolutely. I think it's a fascinating one.
Yeah, it's also known as Berber or Tamazight,
Ah,
right?
right.
And it has a history as vast as the Sahara Desert itself.
It really does, and just as captivating.
Yeah, and today we'll be uncovering its ancient roots,
Okay.
the amazing variety of dialects,
Mm-hmm.
and the efforts to revitalize it.
Yeah.
So to kind of kick things off,
Sure.
can you just give us a little background? Like, what is the Amazigh language?
Well, the fascinating thing about Tamazight is that it's not just one language.
Right?
It's a whole family of languages
Oh, wow.
with a history that stretches back over 2,000 years.
Wow, so this language was spoken in North Africa long before the Roman Empire.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, that puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about a language family,
Mm.
not just a single language.
Right.
So how many different Amazigh languages are there, and where are they spoken?
Well, that's where this idea of a dialect continuum comes in.
Okay.
Imagine a string of villages. Okay.
Each speaking a version of the language slightly different from the next.
Okay.
People in neighboring villages can understand each other just fine.
Gotcha.
But if you travel further, say, across Morocco to Algeria,
Mhm.
the differences become much more noticeable.
So it's kind of like that game we played as kids, like telephone,
Exactly, yeah,
where you whisper a word and it changes a little bit as it goes down the line.
exactly.
But hold on, you mentioned Morocco and Algeria.
Yeah.
So does that mean that this Amazigh language family is spoken across a huge area?
Absolutely. Think of a map of North Africa.
Okay.
It's spread across a vast region, from the Atlas Mountains to the Sahara Desert, even parts of the Sahel.
Wow.
Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Mali, Niger, and more.
Wow. That is an impressive range.
It is.
With such a widespread and long history, I imagine it's been influenced by other languages and cultures.
Definitely over the centuries, the Amazigh languages have interacted with other languages like Phoenician, Punic, Latin, and Arabic,
Mm-hmm.
which is a testament to the Berber people's resilience.
Right.
That their language has survived and evolved, absorbing these influences
Right.
while keeping its core identity.
So it's like a linguistic tapestry woven from different cultures and historical periods.
Yeah, I like that.
And speaking of identity, you mentioned the word Tamazight.
Yes.
What exactly does that word mean?
That's where things get interesting because Tamazight can actually refer to the whole family of Berber languages,
Mm-hmm.
but it can also refer to specific languages within that family.
Oh, okay.
For example, in Morocco, there's Central Atlas Tamazight,
Mm-hmm.
while in Algeria, they speak Algerian Tamazight.
Gotcha.
Both are Tamazight, but they are also distinct languages.
So how do linguists classify all these different Amazigh languages?
Yeah.
Is it a straightforward process?
It's not quite straightforward, no. There's actually been a lot of debate about the best way to categorize them
Yeah.
because of this history of blending and change.
Makes sense.
So it's more helpful to think of them as branches on a family tree,
Oh, okay.
constantly evolving and adapting over time. That makes much more sense than trying to fit it into boxes.
It does.
So we've got this tapestry of dialects all under this umbrella of Tamazight.
Right.
Is there a traditional way of writing these languages?
There is, yes. It's called the Tifinagh alphabet.
Okay.
And it's thought to have ancient roots, possibly connected to scripts used by the Berbers back in antiquity.
Wow.
And visually, it's very distinct,
Yeah.
almost like abstract symbols.
Interesting.
And it really adds another layer to the richness of the Amazigh world.
So not just a spoken legacy, but a written one, too.
Exactly.
So what does it actually mean to speak an Amazigh language today? What role does it play in people's lives and identities?
For many Berber people, the Amazigh language is more than just a way to communicate.
Okay.
It's a powerful symbol of their identity,
Mm-hmm.
their culture, and their connection to their ancestors.
So like a thread connecting the past, present, and future?
Yeah.
I imagine it plays a huge role in passing down traditions and stories.
Think about it. For centuries, much of Berber culture was transmitted orally.
Through stories, songs, and proverbs passed down through generations.
Wow.
The Amazigh language is a living link to that rich heritage.
It's not just a language. It's a vessel for a whole culture, a whole way of life.
Absolutely.
And that's probably why we're seeing these efforts to revitalize and preserve the language.
Exactly. It's about recognizing their importance, not just for linguistic diversity, but for the cultural identity of the Berber people.
So it's like a cultural revival,
Yeah.
a reclaiming of something precious that was almost lost.
Yeah, it's about showcasing the beauty and diversity of Amazigh culture to the world.
But if these languages are so central to Berber identity, Why are there these efforts to revitalize them? Were they in danger of disappearing?
Well, like many minority languages around the world, the Amazigh languages have faced challenges,
Okay.
particularly the dominance of Arabic in education and government.
So they were kind of pushed to the sidelines,
Yeah.
forgotten about.
In a way, yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
It is, but fortunately, there's been a growing movement to push back against this marginalization. Okay.
And both Morocco and Algeria have taken significant steps in recent years, recognizing Tamazight as an official language alongside Arabic.
That's amazing. What kind of impact has this had on the language and the people who speak it?
It's been a huge step forward.
Yeah.
It's opened doors for the Amazigh languages to be used in education, media, and government.
So it's a recognition of their inherent worth and their right to exist alongside other languages.
Absolutely.
But official recognition is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Hmm.
What other efforts are underway to revitalize these languages?
That's a great question, and one we'll delve into much more deeply in just a moment. We'll explore the educational initiatives, the cultural festivals, and the media's role.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're about to uncover a whole world of passionate people working to make sure these languages not just survive, but thrive.
We are.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of the Amazigh language.
It's been a fascinating journey so far.
It has, right?
Yeah.
And before we took a break, we were talking about these incredible efforts that are being made to revitalize these languages. Yes. You mentioned educational initiatives, cultural festivals, and the role of media.
Right.
So let's unpack those a little bit.
Sure.
Starting with education. How are these languages being brought into the classroom?
Well, it's all about creating a space where children can connect with their heritage in a natural and engaging way. And we're seeing a growing movement to introduce Amazigh language instruction in schools,
Okay.
starting from a young age.
That makes sense. Exposing children to the language early on helps them develop fluency
Absolutely.
and a sense of ownership over their heritage.
Exactly. And it's not just about textbooks and grammar lessons,
Right.
although those are important too.
Yeah.
It's about weaving the language into everyday activities.
Okay.
Song, stories, games, cultural events.
So creating a fun, immersive experience where kids can learn and use the language organically,
Yeah, exactly.
and that must make a huge difference in their motivation
Absolutely.
and connection to the language.
Yeah.
But this approach isn't just for children, right?
No, not at all. We're also seeing a rise in adult language classes,
Okay.
online courses, and even language exchange programs.
Wow.
So many ways for people of all ages to reconnect with their heritage or even explore this language family for the first time.
So it sounds like there's a real hunger for learning these languages.
There is, yeah.
What about cultural initiatives? How are those contributing to the revitalization efforts?
Think of vibrant festivals, captivating music, art exhibitions, traditional crafts being kept alive,
Yeah.
all playing a role in raising awareness,
Okay.
celebrating Amazigh heritage, and fostering a sense of pride among speakers.
So it's like a cultural renaissance.
Yeah.
A way of reclaiming and celebrating a rich heritage that might have been overshadowed in the past.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's about showcasing the beauty and diversity of Amazigh culture to the world.
And reminding everyone that these languages and traditions are living, breathing parts of our shared human heritage.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget about the power of media in this whole process. How are radio, television, and online platforms playing a role in bringing these languages to a wider audience?
Well, think about it. Having dedicated radio stations, television channels, and online platforms in Amazigh languages helps normalize their use in everyday life.
Right.
It promotes literacy, and it allows people to engage with news, entertainment, and information in their own languages.
It's about giving them a voice in the digital age.
It is.
And especially with the rise of social media, I can see how that could be really powerful in connecting younger generations with their heritage.
Exactly. Social media has been a game changer.
Yeah.
We're seeing young people connect and share their experiences in Amazigh languages online.
Wow.
Creating this virtual community that transcends geographical boundaries.
It's really cool.
It is.
But let's be realistic for a second.
Sure.
These revitalization efforts are taking place against a backdrop of challenges. We've talked about the dominance of Arabic in many spheres of life.
Right.
So how are these initiatives navigating those obstacles?
That's a crucial point. It's
Yeah.
an ongoing struggle, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But there's a growing recognition that linguistic diversity is a strength,
Okay.
not a threat. And we're seeing a shift toward inclusivity
Okay.
and a real push to support the use of Amazigh languages in public spaces, in education, and in government.
So advocating for policies that create a level playing field
Exactly.
where they can coexist and thrive alongside these dominant languages.
Absolutely.
It's about challenging this idea that monolingualism is the only way.
It is. It's about embracing the beauty of multilingualism and celebrating the unique contributions that each language brings to the world.
And that's where the role of organizations like IRCAM in Morocco and the Haute Commissariat of Amazigh in Algeria becomes so important.
Right.
They're not just involved in research and education, they're actually advocating for these policy changes
They are.
that promote the use and recognition of Amazigh languages.
Yeah, and it's not just happening in North Africa.
Oh, really?
We're seeing similar movements all around the world as indigenous and minority language communities stand up for their right to speak their language and pass on their cultural heritage.
It's a global movement
It is.
for linguistic and cultural diversity.
Absolutely.
Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the experience of speaking in Amazigh language.
Okay.
What's it like to engage with these languages on a personal level? What makes them unique?
Well, one of the first things you'll notice is the incredible diversity of sounds.
Oh, yeah.
The Amazigh languages have a rich consonant inventory, including some sounds that are quite unfamiliar to speakers of European languages.
Can you give me an example?
Well, they have a variety of emphatic consonants produced with a kind of tightness in the throat.
Okay.
And some unusual sounds that might sound a bit like clicks to an untrained ear.
That's really interesting.
But don't worry, they're not as daunting as they might seem.
I imagine it's like learning a new instrument,
Yeah.
where you have to train your mouth to make sounds that it's not used to making. That's just the sounds, though.
Yeah.
What about the grammar? How does it compare to, say, English or French?
The verb conjugation system is particularly interesting.
Okay.
It's quite different from what you'd find in European languages.
In what way?
Instead of adding endings to verbs, they often use prefixes,
Okay.
or even change the verb stem depending on the tense aspect or mood.
So it's like a linguistic puzzle,
It is.
where the pieces fit together in unexpected ways.
Exactly, and it opens up new ways of thinking about language and expressing yourself.
It's like learning a new way to paint a picture with words.
Absolutely.
And learning a language is about so much more than just memorizing vocabulary and grammar rules, isn't it?
It is.
It's about stepping into a different cultural world, adopting a new way of seeing things.
You're absolutely right. Learning an Amazigh language isn't just about acquiring a new skill. It's an invitation to experience the world through the eyes of the Berber people,
Right.
to understand their history, their culture, and their unique way of expressing themselves.
It's a journey of discovery, not just of language, but of self.
It is.
And for those who are up for the challenge, it can be an incredibly enriching and rewarding journey.
It can be. So we've covered so much ground, the challenges, the revitalization efforts, even a taste of what it's like to speak these languages.
Bam.
But there's one more crucial piece of the puzzle that we need to explore.
Okay.
The role of these languages in the larger global context.
Okay.
How does the fight to preserve the Amazigh language connect to this broader movement for linguistic diversity?
That's a great question, and we will delve into that fascinating topic right after we hear from our sponsors. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of the Amazigh language.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It has. We've learned so much.
We have.
And before the break, we were just about to kind of shift our focus to the global context
Right.
of this language revitalization movement.
Yeah.
So how does the fight to preserve the Amazigh language connect to this broader movement for linguistic diversity?
Well, it's all interconnected. The efforts to revitalize the Amazigh language are really part of a global movement
Okay.
to recognize and protect the incredible diversity of languages spoken across the planet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a growing awareness that losing a language is like losing a piece of our shared human heritage.
It really is like extinguishing a flame
Yeah,
that's been burning for centuries
exactly.
and carries with it so many stories and so much knowledge.
And unique ways of seeing the world.
Yeah, so it's not just about preserving languages for their own sake.
Right.
It's about understanding that this linguistic diversity is essential to the health and well-being of our planet and all of its inhabitants.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our world is enriched by the multitude of perspectives and
Yeah.
ways of knowing that different languages embody.
So what can our listeners do to contribute to this movement?
It's a great question.
Because it can feel daunting
It can.
when you think about tackling a global issue.
Right. But remember, even small actions can have a ripple effect and create a positive impact. So start by educating yourself
Okay.
about the endangered languages in your own region
Okay.
or even around the world. learn about the history of these languages, the challenges they face, and the efforts being made to revitalize them.
And support organizations that are doing this work.
Yes, absolutely. Many of these organizations rely on donations and volunteers to carry out their work.
And don't underestimate the power of just listening.
That's right.
We can seek out stories and songs and poetry in these languages.
Absolutely.
Engage with speakers and learn from their experiences.
Yeah, every act of awareness, every expression of support contributes to this collective effort to protect these linguistic treasures.
It's about changing our mindset.
It is.
Recognizing that language isn't just this tool for communication. It's a vital part of what makes us human.
Absolutely.
And embracing the beauty of diversity and understanding that our world is a richer, more vibrant place because of the multitude of languages that are spoken within it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of the Amazigh language,
it's been a fascinating exploration.
It has. We've explored the history, the diversity, the cultural significance, and the ongoing efforts to ensure that these languages continue to thrive for generations to come.
And we've seen the resilience and determination of the Berber people.
We have. And we've been reminded that language is more than just words. It's this powerful force that connects us to our past, to each other, and to the world around us.
Beautifully said.
So as we say goodbye, we encourage you to continue exploring.
Yes.
Continue learning and continue engaging with the world of languages.
Because each language is a gift.
It is.
A treasure to be cherished and protected.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep those languages alive.